We are going to pause just a minute so we can get some technology ready. We'll call the meeting to order in just a few minutes. Let's start this way. Is you ready? Go.
You okay?
Yep. Yeah. Good evening. Excuse me. I'm all choked up seeing these beautiful children on the front row. We are going to call the meeting to order. I need a motion to return to open session.
Madam Chair, I move that we adjourn to close, call, wait a minute, let me find my thing. That we return to open session and adopt certification of closed session.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ms. Golson? Oh, Ms. Go ahead.
Certification of closed session. Whereas the Dinwiddie County School Board has convened a closed session on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas paragraph 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by this school board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the Dinwiddie County School Board hereby certifies that, to the best of each member's knowledge, only such business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the school board. Jerry Sneff,
I certify.
Betty Haney,
I certify.
Barbara Pittman,
I certify.
Mary Benjamin,
I certify.
Sherilyn Merritt,
I certify.
Imani McLaughlin,
I certify.
They don't need to do that.
No,
They don't do
okay.
that.
Okay,
they're not in closed session.
Yes.
thank you. Okay.
All certified?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much. We are going to be saying the Pledge of Allegiance with the help of our visitors here on the front row. However, they were going to be saying it in English and Spanish. So at this point, would one of you direct them? And those in the audience, would you please stand in preparation?
Primero en inglés y luego en español.
Which will be first? English, okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yo prometo lealtad a la bandera de los Estados Unidos de América y a la república que representa una nación bajo Dios con libertad y justicia para todos.
Thank you very much. You may be seated. Ms. Marinado, do you have any explanation or, sorry to put you on the spot, these children, they're beautiful costumes and we appreciate that.
Yes, I try to incorporate our culture because they're on this side, and so they miss a lot of their culture. I think it's important that they wear typical dresses from their country to kind of represent the growing population in the U.S. and in Dinwiddie.
And do you know which countries
countries?
we have?
Yes, our biggest growing population in Dinwiddie is coming from Honduras.
Honduras.
So, from Honduras. And our Mexican population has slowed down. And then we get a little bit from El Salvador. And then Mayra, it does represent she's a representation. Her dress is a typical dress from Guatemala. Yes. And so we're celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month.
And do we have parents here of these children?
Yes, we do.
Parents,
We
would you
have-
please rise so we can recognize
Párense,
you?
Los padres que vinieron a representarnos, párense, por favor. Yes.
Thank you so much. You are welcome to stay and enjoy the meeting, but you're also, if you have a need, do you think they need to leave? I'll let you handle those instructions to you want us to pause for a second? You're fine? Okay.
We're actually going to present.
You're going to be doing, okay, thank you so much. And back to our
Any
agenda.
amendments?
Um,
Amendments to the agenda?
Yes,
Yes. Madam Chair, under recognition, we need to move item 6.05, which is English Learners ESL, up to 3.2 and move 3.2 down to 3.3.
okay.
Okay, Madam Chair, I move that we adopt the agenda as amended.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion does carry. Personnel list,
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the personnel list as presented.
Second.
a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. And recognitions. Dr. Westman?
Yes, I'm going to invite Mr. Garnes to come, principal of Dinwiddie High School, and that's our spotlight for this evening.
All right, first of all, greetings to our chair, to all sitting board members, to our student representatives, and to all of you all. The high school will not present like we did last year, so you should be proud of that. We won't hold you long. I'm going to ask Jonathan and Monty just to stand with me for support. I'm waiting for Miss Ghost. This does work, right, Miss Ghost? I can do it for you. Okay. So we are the Dinwiddie High School. Okay. Hold on. Reading is fundamental. All right. So this year, as you all know, if you don't know, we definitely want to operate in excellence in everything that we do. Now, because the high school is so vast and so large, we have many things that we are proud of. So we have chosen a few, okay? Only a few. So our theme this year is excellence, no excuses. And that's in everything that we do, from our staff to our students. Whether you work in the cafeteria, whether you drive a bus for our students, we want everyone to operate in excellence. And we have already seen some examples of wonderful excellence from our staff and our students. So I want to start with a profile of a Dinwiddie graduate. So I don't want you to look at this slide right now. I have a question. When you think about a Dinwiddie graduate, I just want you to raise your hand and tell me what you would want a Dinwiddie graduate to have. Anyone, when they leave our school district.
I would like for them to
Okay,
have,
not all at once.
I'd like for them to have a chance to have a well-balanced education.
All right.
And many choices.
Exactly. Thank you. Anyone else?
I would love for them to be competitive and are meeting universities in their entrance.
Awesome. So I know people don't like to talk in public for some reason, so we'll just go along. Go ahead. Thank you for those folks. So we have some things here. We said a lifelong learner, which speaks to some of the things you've already said. Literate. We want them literate. We want them fiscally responsible. We want them to be productive citizens. Everywhere that you go in Dinwiddie High School, this is not just a poster. We don't look at this as a poster, but this is in every classroom. And what we've asked teachers to do this year is to refer back to this. Even in examples when you are talking with a student, we want to ask you, are you operating in confidence right now? Are you being kind and caring in this moment? So it goes beyond just putting words on paper. And the teachers, and I will credit the district team for giving us this idea, because they did this with us in a leadership advance, but we took it to the school level. And we asked our teachers, we want you to tell us what you want a Dinwiddie graduate to have when they leave here. So we took all of their ideas. We had the cap. Everyone drew their graduate on bulletin board paper. And this is what the product is and what it has become. And we have, actually it's out there in, I think, the foyer here. And we want people to know that this is serious to us. We want students to see this. We want to be, of course, competitive, but we want students to know what we want them to have when they leave us. And it's our jobs to impart these things in them. So DHS on the grow. So I want to talk about this, and I will say this. Some things that you will see, it's little growth, but guess what? We'll take it. It's still growth. So enrollment, you all see it here. Some of them, I will read some of them. I just want you to look. So we had 1,285. Now we have 1,328. So we're back to the 1,300s at Dinwiddie High School. So contrary to belief, and I probably will say that a lot, people do want to come to Dinwiddie High School.
That's right. That's true.
Science, we've had growth from 22 to 23, 3 points. May not seem like much, but we'll take it.
That's right.
Let me go. Biology, 63 to 76%. It may not be much, but what? We'll take it. Still growth. Math, 76 to 79%. It may not be much, but we'll take it. And I want to pause and say this. This speaks to the work of our educators. And I do want you to know that they are working and they are working hard. We know, I hate to say this, but the pandemic did cause learning loss, but we have folks working in this county. Our teachers are working. Math, I put 3 years here, and I want to say thank you to my admin team. We all work together on this, so thank you. I want you to take a look at this. I just want you to look at this. We are growing. This is algebra 1. This is English, which I'm very proud of. We need to give them a hand because there was a lot of work. Our teachers pulled together, we got things aligned, and they did the work, and the children did the work. College, career, and civic readiness, and I just want to applaud Mr. George and Ms. Woolfolk, who always show up for our students in that category, in that area. Give them a hand. 86 of the students in the 2023 graduating cohort met at least one of the qualifying college, career, and civic readiness criteria while in grades 9 through 12. We have progress, and we have children who want to learn and who are learning, but the adults stand behind them, and this is the evidence. graduation rate. It may not be much, but we'll take it. And I do want to say here, thanks to Ms. Gibbs, who is our student support specialist, to our guidance department, to our administrators, our teachers. Everybody plays a part in this. And Ms. Gibbs works hard during the summer as well to make sure we go back and recapture some students. Attendance. We're not where we want to be, but we did have a 10.3% decrease in chronic absenteeism. We're still working on it. So it's not an increase, and we'll take it. Dropout rate, a decrease from 5.6 to 4.35 is not much, but we'll take it.
Actually, I think it was 7% last year and it went from 7 to 4%.
Well, that's even better. All right, we have attendance incentives, and my admin team worked very hard. Mr. Gregory, I always say this is his area. He likes to. September for the class, actually Miss Elder's English class, first period 1, the breakfast. This is Imani's class, by the way. She's very happy, so she had to let me know that while she's standing there. October, a lunch, pizza lunch. November, you see what we have there. We're going to do something special for December. We're going to have a candy bar, and we're going to give everyone a candy cane. And so we're excited about this because we want to reward our students who show up, because we have students who never get rewarded for what they do, and we want to change that. This is what I'm excited about as well. If you take a look at our, we're doing something each 9 weeks. We're going to have a popcorn and a movie, and I can't wait to get the second 9 weeks to go to the dance party with Ms. Gibbs. Ice cream social, and back to the popcorn and a movie. And these are for the students who meet those criteria we've set in place. And it has to do with attendance and behavior. There's some behavior involved in that as well. All right, what's new? Like I said, can't tell you everything. But 9th grade support plan, all in tutoring. And, of course, that comes down through, I believe, the governor. Targeting 9th grade reading and math. And I also want to share that, if I did not miscount Ms. Woolfolk, we have 9 new dual enrollment classes. I think I'm right, about 9, maybe 10. All right, so I put this back on here, but the 9th grade transition night, we just had some pictures there. And we had parents and students. 9th grade transition, and this was student-led. This was student-led. Adult support was student-led. Awards and achievement, special recognitions. Give it up for competition cheer. The first place Cosby Challenge, first place Cavalier competition, and on the 17th, if I'm not mistaken, they will compete at the district level. Please come out and support them. Show your face in the place. It will be at the high school. It will be at the high school.
Very good.
And I know people are busy, because I am too. I haven't even been able to attend all, but let's try. Culinary Arts, Colin Rudis won a $1,000 scholarship as the winner. I wanted a piece of that dessert, but I did not get one, so I'm a little upset, but that's okay. So we're very proud of our students and their achievements. Lucas Gordon carded a 77 that qualified him, for the 2-day tournament, okay? Second day of the tournament. And I believe there are some other things. Our generals placed as well there, so we're very proud of our students. I just want to stop and share this quote about one of our very own. Excellence is continued progress. And I think if we all took that same mantra and remember that, and we're going to be okay. And I want to credit Ms. Jean Minitry for that. It does not say perfection is continued progress. It's excellence. We're not trying to be perfect. We just want to be better every day. Good news calls of the day we started at. There was one student who's not pictured, Charles Bowers. He was absent the day that we took the picture, but his picture will be on there. And we're putting this on the website. So we're doing good news calls of the day. I stole that from Mr. Moss. I give credit where credit is due. So at this time, I hope this works. Our students participated in the Virginia School Board Association's video, and we hope we win. Or I don't know how it works. We hope we win, but I'm going to show it to you right now. You may see some familiar faces, so I hope this works. No, it didn't. You might have to click it on the actual. I don't know. Let me go back. It should be up there, I'm hoping. Is it showing up? Oh, we thought it was there. Click the, you might have to go out of it. You might have to exit, and then if not, we'll just go on. Oh, it's showing for yours? Okay. I don't know how to, let's see if let me see. Okay, he's doing something now. Hopefully it'll work.
I thought I saw it.
Okay. Technology. All right, well, just take me back. I don't know if it's going to work or not. If not, Ms. Golson will go on. That's right. That's right.
We'll see, if you can't see it tonight, we will see it at some point.
And I will email it. I will email it out to you all, but they did an awesome job. They did an awesome job.
Yeah, that's great.
Where it is. It's not showing up there, but, and it sounds, it is sound, but you can't hear it in here.
What was the theme for, do you know what the theme was?
You all gonna tell
Better
the
together, I
thing?
think
You all
we
gonna
should.
tell the thing?
We are better united than divided.
Very good.
Thank you. We can go back to the presentation. Like I said, we'll email it out, but I'm very proud of the work that they did. And I want to credit Ms. Lynch and Mr. Booker, I believe, who also assisted with that, along with a few
It's
others.
the first time we've had a submission for the Virginia School Board Association competition.
Yes, this is our first time.
It's really well done. You guys did a
Is it
great
going to go
job.
to the next slide, or am I not? I need to move. I'm trying, Miss Ghost.
One of them was gonna take me.
Let's try it again. I don't know. I need to go to the next slide. Can you help me? So Imani reminded me what we're not striving to be perfect. We're
That's
trying
right.
to be trying to be excellent. So
Try.
okay, there we go. So I wanted to end with this. We lost a very special person. I don't want to say lost. I don't want to say that. But we had a very special person who served our staff a number of years, Ms. Parks. I wanted to end with this. This is in remembrance of Mrs. Parks. And this is the day that the staff got together, and we're doing something every Friday in her honor. She loved tie-dye. If you knew her, she loved tie-dye. So we got together to give her this special tribute. And if you look at the board, that's her on the bulletin board. So she's a part of us. And I want to close with this. Her quote, "Just paint over it." That does not mean you cover up things.
That's right.
It does not mean you operate in a place that you're not transparent. But it's a reminder to let us know that every day is a new day and we can start over. So that's our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation and information. We also would like to certainly say that we all miss Ms. Parks. She's so positive and so such a gift that she had to share with our children. At this time, Ms. Brooks, do you have your presentation?
I'll just start talking. So good evening. Thank you all very much for allowing our department to come this evening and present to you in honor of National Hispanic Heritage Month. Mrs. Maldonado did bring some children, as she already said, that they are dressed in clothing from their country, and they also have some toys and some flowers and some different things with them. So we just wanted to give you just a little bit of the demographics of where we are now in Dinwiddie County, and then each one of our teachers are going to come up and say a little bit about some of the events and activities that they did throughout the month. Currently in Dinwiddie County, we actually have 12 different languages. These are home languages of students throughout the county. We have 237 families that are Hispanic, and of those, 208 speak Spanish. So as you see, that's a large number of our English learner population. Currently, we have 131 students that are identified as English learners. So we do appreciate the board and we appreciate the support as we were able to hire an additional ESOL certified teacher for this school year. We're very honored to welcome Miss Joanna Rowland back to our team. We have Tracy Booker, who's at Dinwiddie Elementary School and the high school. We have Miss Maldonado at Southside. As you can see, we have a large population there. We have Miss Engalaba, who are servicing our children at Midway and Sutherland, and then Miss Rowland at Sunnyside and Dinwiddie Middle School. So at this time, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Mrs. Booker. You're welcome. It's all ready.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Tracy Booker. I am the department chair for the English language department, and I'm also the English language teacher at the high school and at Dinwiddie Elementary School.
Thank you.
What you see on board is Quince de Septiembre, and this holiday was brought to my attention during our inaugural Newcomer Summer Academy when I spoke with our students, and they said that they celebrate Quince de Septiembre, but that's like Independence Day for our students. And they have not celebrated this holiday since they came to the United States. And so that was something that I wanted to change for them. So as you can see, Quince de Septiembre is celebrated in Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Nicaragua, and Honduras. But we decided to kick off Hispanic Heritage Month, which begins September 15th through October 15th, by celebrating it then with all of our Latin American countries, as you can see listed here. As I previously stated, I also work at Dinwiddie Elementary School, and what has taken place at Dinwiddie Elementary School is just last week, Dinwiddie Elementary School had a Hispanic Heritage Month celebration after school, in which they had foods that represented the culture, and they also had crafts. And our administration was very hands-on. As you can see here, our administration is dancing with some of our students. We also celebrated, literacy was also celebrated at this celebration, and further crafts with maracas. Here are some of our students. Ms. Stovall sent out links to all of the teachers to have videos which celebrated Hispanic heritage at various levels for our students. She also sent out coloring sheets so that our families could be represented and they could learn some historical facts about our Hispanic leaders. Additionally, some of our students came dressed to impress. You can see here on the right, one of our students is dressed in his blue and white, and he is representing Guatemala. So, Quince de Septiembre was our celebration that we had at the high school. And as much as we desired to have fun, to dance, to celebrate, to have food, we also wanted to focus on education. We also wanted to focus on enlisting, making sure when our students graduated from Dinwiddie High School, that we provided information about enlisting, employment, and enrollment. At the celebration, we had our students and we had our families. Our school took the time out to decorate by having our flags on display, and also we have a bulletin board in one of the main hallways that had facts from Hispanic Heritage Month. Additionally, a culminating activity that I had all of my students complete was a project on Quince de Septiembre, where they listed the facts about Quince de Septiembre, facts about their home country, and they each had to present this information. Additionally, our wonderful librarian, Ms. Minitry, she had books displayed for our students to read. She had coloring center, she had festivities, and she had decorations. As I said before, we are very much driven post-graduation for our students to be enlisted, employed, and enrolled. And this is actually our classroom door. Here we have our motto for Dinwiddie High School: excellence, no excuses, and the profile of our Dinwiddie graduate. But we also wanted to create a visual. So when our students come to class every day, they can see students that were in their seats, in their spaces, that graduated. And one thing that is super important to me is that my current students say, Ms. Booker, where are you going to put me on that door? I want to be here and I want to be there. So we want to create a visual to make sure that they keep that forefront in their mind. At our Quince de Septiembre, we had Staff Sergeant Gory. He is of Venezuelan descent, and he's bilingual, and he's from the Marines. And he spoke with our students and talked to them about possibly joining the military after graduation. We also had Dr. Hale from Rwanti come and talk to our students about trades and certificates that they could take while they're in school now that they could use upon graduation. And she's also bilingual. And then we had our VCU MAP partners that came out and talked to our students, as well as recent Dinwiddie High School graduates. These two ladies, one student attends Richard Bland and our other student is pre-dentistry at Virginia Commonwealth University. And they took the time out to speak to our students and our families to let them know how they can prepare now in the 9th, 10th, and 11th, and 12th grade for post-graduation and how they can be successful and tips that they could utilize. So our MAP program, what was passed out to you is Dinwiddie High School is actually the face of Virginia Commonwealth University Multilingual Ambassador Program. This program, we partner with VCU, and they provide interpretation, they provide EL tutors, they give us presentation, they talk to us about FAFSA and VASFA to introduce our students to student aid, and we are the face, and we're very proud of it. And the picture to the right, if you go on the VCU MAP website, you'll see that picture, which is our students there. And now I'm going to introduce to you this year, for the first time, we created a Dinwiddie High School Multilingual Ambassador Program ourselves, which is honoring Ashley Cabrera Torres. She's a 12th grader, and one of her responsibilities is welcoming new students. Dinwiddie High School's EL population continues to grow, and we want to make sure that we have a smiling face that's welcoming and also bilingual to give our students a tour and introduce them to students, staff, groups, organizations, and to make them feel comfortable. And she also assists us with after-school events. At this time, I'm going to have both of my students, Ashley Cabrera Torres and Sadie Ladino Resina, present their projects that they did for Quince de Septiembre. Sadie, we go first.
Hello everybody, my name is Sadie Laino Resinos. I'm in 11th grade and I'm from Honduras. I'm going to tell about Quince de Septiembre. Quince de Septiembre is mean the Independence Day in Central America. My 3 reasons why do I like September 15 is because we have fireworks, because in our country the school has parties, because it's a special day. And now I will tell about 3 facts. The Act of Independence was signed in 50 of 1821. The absolute independence of Central America was proclaimed in July of 1823. Independence Day is celebrated in 5 countries on the same day. And the last thing that I will tell about is 3 facts about Honduras. There are a huge collection of Mayan ruins in Honduras. There are a lot of baths in Honduras. The official language is Spanish, but the indigenous languages are also spoken. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ashley Cabrera Torres. I'm in 12th grade. I'm from Dominican Republic. Dominican Republic flag colors are blue, white, and red. Dominican Republic Independence Day is not on September 15, however, it is on February 27th. Things I like about Dominican Republic is El Carnaval, where I can go with my friends and family that is celebrated on that day. I like the different food options, especially on that day, and I like the fireworks. Fun facts about Dominican Republic Independence Day is it marks the day that La Trinidad first declared the nation to be free from the clutches of Haitians back in 1844. Independence Day is traditionally celebrated during the last weekend of the Dominican Republic Carnival. Thank you. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce our Southside English learner teacher, Alma Maldonado.
Hello. Like I said before, I try to keep the culture going in Southside, on top of doing the curriculum and WIDA, but they really get excited when we do fun projects like making flowers or piñatas. And the flowers that they have are made out of corn husks, and so are the flowers on their hair. So they love to do that too. And then here's a little representation of the piñatas. Okay. So this is Southside Elementary. We had a Hispanic Heritage Month, and sometimes teachers volunteered to wear our traditional costumes. And that's very popular with our Hispanic families. They love to come and listen to music and, dress in our traditional clothing. And so what I did is I would get like 2 or 3 classrooms together and just do a presentation on certain events that we celebrate in different countries. This one here, we're doing Dia de los Muertos. And here we are making piñatas. Here's a picture on Hispanic Heritage Night. We get very excited. And I think that's it. Vengan, mijo. ¿Quién va a hablar? Katie, ven. Okay. So Katie would just like to give you a few fun facts about Hispanic Heritage Month.
Hispanic Heritage Month is celebrated from September 15 through October 15. There are 62 million people in the United States that identify themselves as Hispanic. Todos somos uno. We are all one. Driving prosperity, power, and progress in America.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Allison Ngalaba, the English language teacher at Midway and Sutherland Elementary. So you see here in these photos, these are some of our Hispanic heritage students. And this whole past month, since September 15th, we've been dedicating our morning announcements to Hispanic Heritage Month. So each week we have a Spanish phrase of the week for our students to practice, so everyone can try to stretch those language muscles. So those pictures on the wall are of our phrases of the week, and we've also been learning about famous Hispanic inventors, food, traditions, and then facts from the countries that our students have a heritage from. And then in our Midway, From among our English learner population, we have one Hispanic heritage student, Leo, and so he shared with us what it meant for him to be Hispanic and some of his favorite foods and traditions.
Hi, I'm Joanna Rowland, and I am the English language teacher for Sunnyside Elementary as well as Dinwiddie Middle School. And I guess I don't need to stand on my, I'm like you, Imani, I feel like I have to stand on my toes. Okay. At Sunnyside Elementary, this is a video. Again, I don't know, Bonnie, if this is going to work at all or not. But while we're checking to see if it works, I really appreciate Principal Roberts' thought on this. Rather than having only students who were of Hispanic heritage, he wanted students to show their support for Hispanic heritage, because we do only have 4 students right now at Sunnyside who are of Hispanic heritage who are English language learners. And so he invited some other students to come down, and they all had a message to share.
And it's really cute as well.
Aw. That's okay, Ms. Golson. In the interest of time, we can move on because some of these other slides are cute too. So we'll move to the next slide. I asked these students, I just love their answers, what is your favorite part of being Hispanic? And the fellow there on the left, I love his heart. He wants to make sure that he can help others as he grows older. And of course, who can't resist a little first grader who said he likes how his name sounds? When we say it, I like how it sounds too. It's beautiful, the Spanish language is. And then we had a third grader who he's ready to go. He said, I can't wait to translate books into Spanish. And then our second grader, who is at the lowest proficiency level, who's trying to learn, he said, what I like about being Hispanic is that my dad knows 2 languages pretty much, which I think is a great asset. And then at Dinwiddie Middle School, oh my, Dinwiddie Middle School, it's a time when everyone's, trying to figure out who they are and where they fit in. And so we thought, what better way to showcase that than to have all the flags of the Hispanic countries. And what we allow the students to do, we put this down in the hall by the cafeteria. That way everybody could see it. It's in a nice prominent place. And as students came out, they could take time to sign by their country that they represented. What was neat about that, I'm sorry, I'll go back just a little bit, is that we got an opportunity not only to see the students who had Hispanic heritage, but how many of you knew that Ms. Boo has Hispanic heritage? And so she signed that as well. I think she said her grandmother was from Panama. And so I just think that's neat. We get to learn something new. And so the students signed that, and then shame of all shames that this isn't going to work. I had Ms. Morgan call all the students down who had Hispanic heritage, and they were so excited because it wasn't we weren't just having the English language learners, it was any student who had Hispanic heritage. And it took me 5 minutes just to calm them down. They were so happy to all be together. And the message that they had, because I don't think this is going to work, I'm very sorry, but I had to pan around because we had so many students. And as they shouted out, Happy Hispanic Heritage Month, woohoo! You know how middle school students are. They were very excited about having that opportunity to showcase their heritage. And so this would conclude, oh, no, one more, that's right. There's them signing it. That's right. And then this is to conclude. I chose this last slide to conclude because to me, this situation, and you can read it as I'm talking, the situation of a young girl who's anxious and nervous, who's an English language learner, but yet who overcame that to do the announcements in English and Spanish, that's what it's all about. And the support that is just like we're supposed to in the classroom. We can't help it as teachers. We always have to explain what we're doing. We always want to give supports to our English language learners. And so the first week, I gave her the information a week ahead of time. I pulled her into the room where the announcements were done, let her watch it, and then she did it. The second week, I gave her the information about 3 days ahead of time, and then she came in. The third week, I gave her the information 1 day ahead of time. And then this last time, I pulled her in 10 minutes before the announcements and said, okay, here you go. And just little by little, letting her gain that confidence. And so this will conclude our English language learners presentation. And just want to say thank you to all of you for letting us take this time and share a little bit of what we do.
I just want to give the kids a round of applause for coming. They really wanted to be here. They really wanted to be here, and some of them didn't get to come. Some of them cried, but these are the lucky ones. They're very proud to be here and to represent the Hispanic heritage community. Okay, turn around.
Thank you to all of you who have participated, not only the students, but the parents and the teachers and the leaders as well. It's valuable information, and we're so happy to be a part of what you are doing and what we are doing. Who's going to take the picture?
Miss Brooks, she'll take care of it.
Ms. Brooks?
She's gonna take a picture of them when they go outside.
You're going to meet them in the hallway to take pictures? So we would like to give you a second to go out to the hallway so we can take a picture of your beautiful outfits and all those others who come up to speak with us. Thank you so much.
She wants to make sure that the parents understand we appreciate them too, so maybe Ms. Mulvin.
Ms. Aldonado, do you need to repeat any of that to the parents? Any instructions?
Sí, muchas gracias por venir hoy, traer sus hijos y luego ahorita nos vamos. Okay, ¿está bien?
Ms. Marnell,
Thank y'all.
Ms. Maldonado.
let them know that we appreciate their coming, the parents.
Yes. That's good.
And we're glad to have them. Sure.
Yes, absolutely. They're so cute.
They are beautiful.
Oh, I love that, yes. I love that. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Take them in the hallway, take pictures and bring them back.
Yeah, go ahead and
Tell
take
them, take
them.
them
You can
in the
take them,
hallway
get a
to bring them
picture,
back.
and you can bring them back to me. Take them for your picture. Go take your picture.
But
I want this. Oh my gosh, so beautiful. But bring them back because I want them for my door. It's so beautiful. Okay, thank you. Oh my God. This will be my door.
That's nice.
So beautiful.
What's my place here? What's the next one? Okay.
You have to do the VSBA.
The SBA and then.
Oh, yes. Did we do that first? Yeah. I'm doing that.
And then we'll do this one. At this time, Dr. Weston has the VSBA Academy Awards, which are based on points and participation with training sessions during the 2-year cycles.
Yes, I'm doing my best to be Miss Natanya today. And so the Academy, as Ms. Pittman said, the Academy Awards are awards that are given from the Virginia School Board Association to recognize board members for their dedication, time, and hard work in improving their boardmanship through meetings and conferences, and they earn credits from attending these kind of all of those things. From this year is from July 1st to June 30th of each year. And so these awards that I'm about to share with you this evening have to do with the past 2 years, I believe. So the first two, these are awards of recognition. And the first one goes to Mr. Schneff. Here you go. This has to do with 15 credits per year. The second award of recognition goes to Bonnie Golson. This next award is an award of excellence. This award goes, and you get a certificate and a silver pen, goes to Shirley Merritt. And then this last category is called an award of distinction. And these individuals get not only a certificate, but they get the starfish pin. And the first one is Barbara Pittman.
Thank you.
The next award, same thing, is for the award of distinction, goes to Mary Benjamin.
Thank you.
And then also the award of distinction goes to Miss Haney.
And Dr. Weston, before you sit down, there is one for superintendents, and there is a award of honor. And Dr. Weston had 66 credits in the 2 years, so she gets a certificate and a gold pin. It's awfully hard for superintendents to shake loose and go to some of these trainings because they're while school is open then. So she's
Trying to keep
worked
up with
hard.
the school board, they're so busy.
I know.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And and all the ones on their recognition.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. We move to consent agenda, expenditure reports.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the expenditure reports as presented.
A second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? And approval of minutes from September 12th and 26th.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the minutes of September the 12th and the September the 26th, 2023 meeting.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? And that motion carries. Board matters. Excuse me. We left off one thing when we were approving the new personnel list. Dr. Weston has an announcement with that.
Yes. So it's always wonderful to work in a school district where you have so many talented, qualified people. When we unexpectedly have a vacancy, and as many of you know, Mr. Byrd is going to be leaving us. This is his final week with us, and I just want to say to you, Mr. Byrd, you've really served Dinwiddie well, and we're going to miss you. As many of you know, I mean, it's just a pleasure to work with him as a person. He definitely is a person of excellence, and he is a servant leader in all aspects of the word. So we just thank you so much for that, and hope that you have equally found some great experiences and times with us as well. And we just know you're going to do great things. So yes, thank you. So when there is a vacancy, you know, we really have tried to work hard on making certain that that we're ready to lean in and to make certain that the work that continues, or the work that's already started under in this case, under the leadership of Mr. Byrd, will be able to continue. And I'm very honored this evening that of all the qualified candidates that we have, that Mrs. Tori Walker has agreed to be the next principal at Dinwiddie Middle School. And I just want to tell you a little bit about Ms. Walker. First of all, I pulled the yearbook out. And just so you know, I found your picture before anybody, because Tanya was trying to tell me that wasn't you. And I said, no, that is you. You look exactly the same. So Ms. Walker was a graduate of Dinwiddie High School, which I always think is so special, right? Where you serve in the community in which you grew up. I think that is really, really special. So she graduated, and you were the SEA president. I mean, yeah, so you were already leading way back then. And so, of course, she went to college, and then I don't know how we let her sneak away, but went to Maryland and did some work in Maryland and taught for a while. And then also she worked at the middle and high school level as a principal. Was a very successful principal. I got to read about lots of wonderful things that you did, and I got to read lots of wonderful comments that people that you've worked for talked about just what an exceptional leader you were, and that any school district would be amiss if they did not hire you. So I'm glad we were able to finally get you back. I know that you're here with your about your family, but I'd like to think you just wanted to come back to be with us. But exceptional leader. everybody that wrote the letter of recommendation, every person she's ever worked for just talked about the work that she had done and the value addedness of the work, and the things that she had done are all the things that we want for our kids, too, and all the things that we're starting here in Dinwiddie County, or we've got going in Dinwiddie County. And so, with all that experience and with her heart being at Dinwiddie County, this is her home. She lives here in Sutherland with her husband. I'm not sure if he's speaking to me yet because, as you know, and being in a middle school, it's not just hiring a leader, but you're taking on the family knows what this work is going to entail. Her son wasn't very happy today. I know he said he was going to miss his mama, is what he told me. But we're just very, very happy, Ms. Walker, that you've agreed to take on this next challenge and go back as a principal and lead us at the middle school level. But as I said, she's got a long history of success, and I know that she's going to bring that to the Dinwiddie Middle School community, and I'm just very, very happy. You have a lot of people carrying the banner for Dinwiddie Middle School and for you and your success, and we're all here to make that happen. So, and she has her family here with us. Would you like to introduce your family? Even the ones behind you. I know you have some family here too. Mr. Garnes is still not speaking to me yet either. Good evening. Sure.
For your kind words. I truly am excited about serving in the role of being a principal again. So I do have my husband here with me, Kevin Walker, and he is a graduate of Dinwiddie High School.
Yes.
I have both of my parents, Charlie and Edna Brown,
Mhm.
and they are graduates of Southside High School.
That's
and
wonderful.
Then I have my work family, and my work BFF.
That's your BFF.
Right, who it's gonna be hard for us to separate, and then Ryan Gregory, who
Mhm.
he's helped me along as I transition back to Dinwiddie, and then Brandy Lundy and Officer Goodwin. So, and then Mr. Garnes, who I thank him for giving me the opportunity to be an assistant principal, and I loved it. It was my first time being an assistant principal.
Wow.
And I loved it, and I learned a whole lot from
Right.
him. But I'm just excited about this opportunity. Mr. Bird, I wish you well, and I am going to do my best to, I know, I'll do my best and fill your shoes and your relationships. Yes.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Congratulations, and we hope it is seamless as we just move forward and continue the work that has been started.
Yeah.
Now we're looking at board matters, starting off with the athletics from the high school. Mr. Tortorese.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How are y'all?
We're doing well, thank you.
All right, the first trip, I believe, is Rosewood, North Carolina. The high school wrestling team would like to take a trip to attend a girls wrestling tournament at Rosewood High School on December 8th, 2023. It's an opportunity for them to go wrestle different competition and compete at a different level. There's also a JV division at this tournament, so we could take some of our more inexperienced to gain experience. The only thing that they would need to do is leave a little bit early on Friday so they could get there in time for weigh-ins. Coach Hall we would need one driver for this trip, one bus. And I ask that we approve this trip.
Any questions for Mr. Tortorese? If not, I need a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the wrestling tournament. Rosewood, North Carolina.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
The second trip is again for the wrestling team. All three tonight are for the wrestling team. This one's the Harrisonburg High School in Harrisonburg, Virginia. It's a 2-day trip, so they would leave a little bit early on Friday to get out to weigh-ins. They would stay Friday night and come back Saturday after the tournament concludes.
So is this just boys or boys and girls?
This one is just a boys
Just
tournament.
boys, okay. Any questions for Mr. Tortorese?
Coach Hall is driving the bus on this one as well.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept we approve the varsity wrestling team going to Harrisonburg, Virginia.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
The third one is a girls wrestling tournament in Kerwinsville, Pennsylvania. The girls wrestling team would like to request approval to attend the girls wrestling tournament in Kerwinsville, PA on January 6th. Due to the distance, they would be staying overnight on January 5th in a nearby hotel, and they will return on the same day on the 6th. They're either going to take the activity bus or we'll have to have a regular school bus depending on the number we have traveling. Coach said that they will make that decision then. And since it's over our break, no other class would be missed.
All right, so you're thinking, that's always is possibility of weather, but in Pennsylvania, January. might be-
Central Pennsylvania.
Be a long bus ride.
Yes, that would be a long bus ride.
It's about 6 hours, yep.
6 hours?
Yeah.
Any other questions for Mr. Tortorese about that one?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the girls wrestling team tournament for field trip to go to Kerwinsville, Pennsylvania.
I believe so.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. The budget calendar update.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So we just got our 24 budget signed, and we're here to talk about the 25, starting the 25 budget process. So I have before you a draft of what the FY25 budget calendar is. The biggest change here is we are going to do some they're really not presentations, but it's individual discussions with budget administrators. We have packets going out to all of budget administrators November the 3rd and coming back on December the 8th. So we will have all of our information back from budget administrators before the winter break. And we're going to also try to get in a couple meetings on those days. We're working on a schedule right now with having each individual department or budget administrator to come in and talk to us individually about those. So
please keep going. I just need to stand up for a
okay,
minute.
Doug, you go right ahead. So that, other than that is the biggest difference. The regular schedule keeps true. We have to provide a request to the governing body by the end of February, and we hope to have a budget approved and adopted by the end of May next year. Although the last 2 years that has not happened. So, but we are always hopeful. So does anyone have any questions about the budget calendar itself?
I say this every time, and there's nothing to do about it, but the fact that we have to follow this timeline when the powers that be have a whole different timeline is just ludicrous to me, but it is a part of the law, so.
Yeah, and it makes it very difficult for us because, we're kind of driving blind.
Yes, it makes no sense that we have to say all these things by a certain date, and then they go till June, July, and September before they give us anything. Just in case anybody from the state is listening, I just, you never know, you never know.
No, you don't. So I'm asking for your approval. Now, this is a working document. It can be changed, at any time by the board or the administration as needed. But it's a guideline.
We need a motion to adopt this, just the proposed budget calendar?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Mhm.
Madam Chair, I move that we adopt the proposed FY25 budget calendar as presented.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We have VPSA reimbursement resolution. Mr. Ampe. Thank you.
All right, greetings, everyone.
Greetings.
I'm seeking board approval on the VPSA reimbursement resolution for $2,302,000. I get this number. And this is the grant that provides the funds for the student devices and all, anything any hardware, wiring, switches, and Chromebooks for SOL testing. I'm seeking board approval on this resolution.
So this is our reimbursement for having purchased those items.
Yes, ma'am.
Any questions for Mr. Ampe? If not, we need a motion. Coming down, back to you.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I move that we approve the reimbursement resolution.
Second.
And we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? That carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
And GBEA policy.
I guess, so these were, I believe these are policies that have come previously for you. The first one is the one that has to do with anybody in our organization who, any employee that has the CDL. And it just talks about, first of all, it talks about it's prohibited about them dispensing or possession or using a controlled substance, but it also talks about testing that's required before anybody can drive one of our buses or any other the CDL vehicles. And we're asking for approval of this policy.
Okay, any questions? No? If not, I need a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve policy GBEA.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion does carry. And the next policy is GBEC-R, which has to do with tobacco products.
Yes, so, sometimes we do bring that, and we know that you don't typically have to act on the regulations, but we did want to bring this one before you because we do know that this is something that you are always asking about as it pertains to vapes and things of that nature. But as you can see, it just talks about tobacco use and distribution in our schools and what happens both to our employees in the as it relates to the Code of Virginia, first offense, second offense, because there is no vaping or smoking on our premises, as well as any visitor violations, what would happen in that regard as well. For students, we just would ask that what it has in regulations, you refer to the Student Code of Conduct. There will be signs that will be posted throughout the buildings that we do prohibit smoking anywhere on school property, and that there are some resources that are available to both staff and students relative to that. And you'll see that this is all in red, anything that's been added to the policy or changed. Just wanted you to see that, and we just, even though you don't have to approve this, we would ask for your approval of these regulations because they're so very important in this moment.
This is actually a policy, right?
This said it was, it's actually a regulation. You see the R dash R.
R dash behind it.
Yeah, the dash R means it's a regulation.
Any questions? I feel strongly that this is something that's really raised its ugly head right now.
Yes.
We made such good progress over the years with smoking and had, in the United States and Dinwiddie, we had lessened the number of children who were seeming to smoke, but with the invention of the vape, it has come back strong, and because it's so easy and they can hide it and you can't smell it, and it's something that's really, really giving us a fit right now. So
yeah,
we do need a motion and a second.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve policy GBEC-R.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion does carry. And the next one is JGD/JGE.
That's correct. So this is a policy. This has to do with student suspensions and expulsions. And basically what it outlines is that the principal notifies the parents in writing of the offense and what the action is going to be within 24 hours. I will say that they do it within the same day. The student can make up any work. Then it talks about long-term suspensions and expulsions. We also do allow them to make up any work if they're on long-term. Students in the secondary schools, bless you, students in the secondary school may be eligible for RISE or may be able to complete missed work through an approved virtual, usually through our Canvas platform. And then students who are expelled may be offered the opportunity to learn virtually through an improved learning platform. And then it just talks about there are appeal procedures, but this is the policy, and I believe there are regulations for this as well. But for today, it's just talking about RISE, and we do need your approval.
Any questions?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the policy JGD, JGE, option 1. as
Second.
presented.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion does carry. Policy updates.
And then finally, you received quite a number, I think, that we have been looking or working through over the summer months. Most of them have to do with changes to the Virginia Code, and you can see the list here. Happy to answer any questions that you might have. And if I can't answer, we have, experts in the room that can. But just, how the SBA sends us revisions periodically. And so just asking for a blanket approval of these changes to our current policies.
Anybody have any questions from those that have been sent to us?
Yeah, I did look through. Wasn't a
Yeah.
lot of changes,
Very minor.
Very
minor,
minor
like
changes.
can and to.
Yes.
It was wording changes.
Yes.
Just
mostly.
wording changes mostly, yes.
Yeah. Those legal terms, the thous and
Yes.
thises.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the policy updates.
Second.
And we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? The motion does carry. Ms. Golson, is there new business? There is no new business. So superintendent matters.
Was it a week ago or 2 weeks ago? We had the opportunity to sit together and work with you, a work session on student success, work on our comprehensive plan. Tonight, I'm just going to bring you brief overview as required by Virginia Code about where we are relative to student success and school accreditation. You all received a lot of more detailed information. We went school by school. We looked at line by line. And as Mr. Garnes shared this evening, we have lots of things to celebrate. And there are a lot of opportunities for us to continue to grow in the months to come. So this evening, I'm just going to briefly really be focused on priority one, which is student success. And our guarantee is that every one of our students will reach, challenge, and prepare every one of our students for success in school and life. Because really, at the end of the day, what's most important is what happens the day after graduation. Do they have a plan for success? Do they have a place to go? Do they know what they're going to do, and both the short term and the long term? And so here are our three goals that we'll be focused on this evening in this presentation. Since 2017, I'm really happy to report that 100% of our schools have been remain fully accredited, and I just want to say that really is attributed to the leadership and the teachers, the leadership that's in this room, the leadership that's on the front lines with at our schools every day, and the teachers that are in the front lines with students. And I would just say that that has not been an easy task to make sure that we've maintained that, especially over the course of the past 3 years. There was a JLARC study that was put out that talked about the pandemic impact on K-12 education, and I will tell you, we have felt it here. There have been some major concerns with chronic absenteeism and student behavior. A lot of that changed from the pre-pandemic to post-pandemic. We are seeing very different types of students, and we are seeing absenteeism on the rise, although we are seeing improvements in those areas, much in the same way you saw with the high school reducing their chronic absenteeism by about 10%. We are seeing prevalent mental health issues with our young people, and so we really have had to enlist the supports of a lot of wraparound services There have been declines in academic achievement. How we were performing and the trajectory that we were on in 2018 and 19 became very different. We had, it became flattened out, and in some cases it took a bit of a dip, but we are on the road back to where we previously were. There have been substantial challenges with maintaining a qualified workforce. I think that's probably one of the biggest things. Education today is very different than it was when I became a teacher, and I'm sure many of you became a teacher. The challenges that our teachers are faced with as I said, on the front lines with our young people. And then also, I think sometimes just the barriers that I don't think the State Department intends to put barriers in place, but I think sometimes all the demands on teachers, what they have to go through to get the license and to maintain the license, it becomes a barrier for our teachers. Lower teacher morale and job satisfaction, and we heard that when Ms. Branch talked to us last month about what's going on with teacher retention. And finally, then the remote learning obstacles we went through. What we learned in those couple of years where we gave families an option to remain virtual, and about half of our kids did remain virtual, is that it doesn't work. That virtual really, there's no substitute for a classroom teacher. But we're on our way back. So tonight I'm just going to provide you with the balcony view just to show you where we are in this moment, that even though we're accredited, we still have a lot of opportunities for growth. What you're going to see here, and that's why we chose 2018-19 to show you where we were in that moment and to show you as a district where we are in this moment. And as I said, we talked individually about schools. You looked at all the individual school scores. We looked at them by subgroup, and we have identified already what we're doing moving forward. But you'll see English performance for all students. So we were at 77% of our students were proficient, but in 2022-23, only 65%. So we do have work to do in that area, and we are working on that. And we're going to talk in a minute what that work looks like. Writing performance, we were at 70% for all students, and then now we're at 60%. They've actually changed the writing test, so now it'll be incorporated into the reading test as opposed to being a separate test, so that'll be interesting moving forward in the year ahead. Math performance, we were at 81 pre-pandemic, and at 62% overall for the year, this past year. Science performance at 78, and then for all students at 60%. History performance, the same thing. We're at 77%, and we're at 59%. This is interesting information. This is the cohort of young people who had just come out of the 9th grade year. And what's interesting is to see where kids are in 9th grade, 9th grade being probably the hardest year in high school for young people, and it's going to determine whether or not they're successful. And 90% of our students got through the pandemic and graduated on time. And I will tell you that across the Commonwealth, we saw a large number of students that we were unable to, that a lot of school systems were unable to account for, but we were able to maintain the students in that moment. And over 90% of our students did graduate with their cohort. As Mr. Garn shared, our graduation and completion rate back in 2018-19 was at 90%, and now it's at 93.4%. I think that really speaks to, even during the pandemic years, we knew that we only had a brief moment in time with the kids that were at the high school. So we kind of looked at what we were doing and said, okay, we've got to really focus on these kids, and we did put some things in place to make that happen. The dropout rate was at 7.1% in 2018-19, and this past year it was at 4.3%. And that just speaks to, once again, the high school's efforts in making sure we keep our kids in school. We do a great job with kids that stay with us 5 years as well. He also did speak to you about the College Career and Civic Readiness Index. In 2018-19, that was at 76.7%, and this past year was 85.9%. So we're making pretty good gains in that area. Chronic absenteeism, you'll see 2018-19 there. Just 15% of our kids were chronically absent, but look at 2022-23. 871 of our students missed 18 or more school days last year. That's a lot of time. Because when kids aren't here, we can't reach them, and so we really need some supports in that area. So, yeah, certainly.
On that last slide, in 1819, was the state at that point counting all absences, whether they were excused or not? I know that's what they do now, but was there a switch in between there?
No, I think we were doing, they did not? Okay.
So, I mean, at one point, we could excuse doctors.
Report card, 'cause that's when it started with the per pupil expense on our report cards. I think it was 19.
It just started there where everything counted in 2019. So we had just switched over to that in that moment.
So I do know that absenteeism is worse. I'm not trying to take
Yes.
away from that, but the regulations of how they counted it.
They have
in
changed
between.
it so that now it doesn't matter if your parent provides a note. It doesn't matter if a doctor provides a note. An absence is an absence is an absence. Whereas there used, back in the day when I was a principal, your parent could write a note and it was an excused absence. So it was not held against you.
Well, and you could be in the hospital from a car accident,
Yeah.
and now the state counts that as an absence, and we used to count that as excused.
Okay.
So
yes,
I really feel like that's wrong on the state's part, and there's nothing that I personally can do about it. But and also, one of the phenomenons after the pandemic has been that we used to say, try to go to school even if you're not feeling good. And now we say, keep your kid at home.
Yes.
And it's appropriate to keep your kid at home, but it's contributing to this.
Yes.
So,
I will say that, I mean, we do have families go on vacation and we have, there are lots of things.
I'm not crazy about that, but.
And I feel like, personally, I feel like, a parent should be able to write a note and says, excuse you from, but thank you, you got it. It should not count against the school. This is one of the areas that we can't control. We can control what happens in the school with the school hours we have them. We cannot control. Attendance is very difficult to control. Just so you know, these are some of the things that we are working on as we move forward. I would just tell you that each school team has already reviewed their data. We spent a lot of time in the summer to determine the areas of need. They're finishing their school, or they have finished their school continuous improvement plan. We're meeting, I believe it's next week, to go over that, where they are in this moment. We created an promise list. We call them the ABCs. So if you look at attendance, behavior, and course performance, you can identify which kids that most likely would drop out of school. And so we created this promise list so we can make sure that there was a student success process in place for each of these young people. And they're conducting regular data meetings with teachers and adjusting instruction as needed. Some of the other areas of focus, we are making sure that Tier 1 instruction, that what happens most importantly in education happens inside the classroom. So alignment is key, and making sure that we're supporting our teachers in the classroom and making sure that their classroom lessons are aligned with state standards. We are implementing Tier 2 and Tier 3 interventions for students. We like to call it acceleration, meeting kids where they are and accelerate them to where they need to be with behavior, academic attendance, and our social emotional needs. We have explicit instruction and high leverage strategies. Dr. Joyner and her team have been working diligently in that area. We're very focused on teacher clarity, making certain that kids understand what's being taught and why it's important. And so making sure that the teachers also are being very explicit in their instruction in the classroom, and making sure that everybody understands that every class is a reading and writing class. It doesn't just happen in English. So that's been something very different. There will be implementation of the Virginia Literacy Act this year, and our team will be working on a literacy plan for Dinwiddie County Public Schools. We will begin to implement the new math standards just when, we're starting to move back in the right direction. We'll have new math standards, and we're preparing for the new history and social science standards, which I think we will embrace next year. The All in Virginia plan, you are aware of that, what the governor has provided us, this high-intensity tutoring. That we met today as superintendents just to talk about this and, just about the hundreds of tutors that we need in order to do this 1-to-10 ratio. In places like Chesterfield, he said he needed 800 tutors. So we just talked about the importance of really investing in Tier 1 instruction and how can we what can we do differently here in Dinwiddie County, making sure that we're implementing responsive classroom at the elementary level and reducing chronic absenteeism. For those of you that had the opportunity, we had the first family university night last month. That was wonderful. It wasn't as well attended as we had hoped to, but I think as we move forward, more people will talk about it and we'll see more parents come out. Thriving Gen Night at the high school last year was a huge success, and I know they're going to be doing that again this year. And then we're going to add the component Mission Middle School Night, which I'm excited about that. And so with that, I just wanted to, we've already really gone through this in depth, so you can take a look at some of the individual scores and where we are. But I wanted you to make certain that we brought this to you as from the division level as well. Be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Are there questions for Dr. Weston? We certainly do appreciate all the work that has gone into not only updating the plan, but moving us forward.
Yes. I'm very optimistic about the year ahead. They're doing great. The teams are doing great work.
And I'm glad to see that
Mhm.
you have the family university.
Yes.
I know we said, we're sure not too many showed up, but I'm hoping this next one and the next one that they would show up, because it's so important that they get it first.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to see you added. You have that in the plan.
Yes, yes. Putting resources in the hands of our families is critical.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Financial update. Ms. Fleming?
Good afternoon once again. So I'm going to talk about two things. One, an update on enrollment and where we stand. Right now, it looks like if our ADM would be based on 4,095 students, or almost 96 students, which our budget was built on 4,100 students, so we're just a few under that, which I feel like we're in good shape right now with how that stands. Does anyone have any questions about our current enrollment? 4,096. Close enough.
Will that
I don't know how we
be,
get partial students, but.
the end of September, or will it be in March?
Oh, it's in March is when the numbers are taken, but this is as of today. If we had to submit today, it'd be 4,095. Now, we have 4,135 students, but we cannot count the CSA students in our ADM, and then we also participate in
What are the CSA students?
the Comprehensive Services Act students. They're on our rolls, but they're students where they are in another location, and Comprehensive Services Act pays for them to attend those schools. Did I get that right, Dr. Jordan?
We don't pay anything.
Private day schools, that's the word I was looking for.
So
Services involved with that?
Yes, ma'am. It's in the social, it's a team. So, yeah, there, yeah, that team, yeah.
So the county and/or the state is paying, but not necessarily Dinwiddie County Public Schools is paying.
Right, and that changed several years ago when we realized that we were actually double dipping, because we were getting credit for these kids and the state was also funding the CPMT teams and the counties for the same students. So now they come off of that. And then also we participate in the special ed regional grant, which is the students with intensive support needs grant, and so those students come off of our ADM because we receive separate funding for them, but we receive more funding per student by doing it that way than we do in the ADM. So we actually have, more students than 4,095 here. So I feel like we're doing good. We're moving back up, increased over last year. So the second thing I want to talk about is our 24 budget. So as I mentioned just a few moments ago, we did finally get a signed budget by the governor. So we are going to be bringing back an amended budget to you for approval, hopefully later this month. We're still waiting on the Department of Ed to give us all of the guidelines that they normally do with any changes to the budget, and we have not received that yet. I know we received the some information on the All-In Virginia plan, but yet we still haven't received a lot of the documentation that we're waiting on. We shared with you back at the board advance what that entailed, and nothing has changed, based on that. So we are getting an additional $2 million for the All-In Virginia plan. We're getting the General Assembly has recommended going back and releasing some of the support staff cuts that were originally out there that go back to the 2009, 2010 budget. And then the 2% salary increase. So we're going to be bringing a recommended budget back to you later this month. And we're working on an implementation plan for the All-In Virginia. So until we get some final information from DOE, we really can't act on that yet. So does anybody have any questions about any of that information?
And is that supposed to be implemented this year? The
Oh, yes,
all-in?
ma'am. Mhm. I think originally they talked about it starting this week or next week. Yeah.
Oh, my
The
heavens.
Yes.
16th, we're supposed to,
16th,
we have to
yeah.
have a 3-year financial plan that we have to turn that in, and then we are supposed to start implementing it on the 16th.
Oh,
But we
my
haven't gotten
heavens.
all the guidelines for
We
any
have
of
not
it yet.
gotten specifics about it.
I did hear through the grapevine that perhaps we might get a calc tool.
This week is what they told us today.
Oh, today? Well, one time they told us the 10th. Well, today's the 10th, so
Okay.
I haven't
He
seen it.
said by week's end, they thought today is what they were telling us.
Okay, yeah.
It's
So-
just crazy.
It
It's
is.
just crazy.
It is.
It is.
I mean, so hopefully, we will have better, not better, because this is good news. We are receiving additional funding to certainly
It is good
support
news.
our students and the needs that we have.
Right.
But,
Start planning.
And you're supposed to spend it only for that.
Yes.
oh, yes, ma'am. Mhm.
Yeah.
$2 million.
And the money is great news, but just and how to do it is
Right.
just
Yeah.
it's
Now,
problematic.
the All-In Virginia plan, the $2 million that's supporting that, we can carry that over for multiple years. So that all doesn't have to be spent by June.
In the summer.
Yeah. And we can use it in the summer. There's
Oh,
there are
that's
some.
good. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah. So we can, really do a nice summer school with that intensive. So
Well, that's good news.
more
Thank you.
more information to come on that. We're currently doing three budget years at the moment. So
Thank you. Any
Yeah.
questions
Any
for Ms.
questions?
Fleming?
okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Amendments from the school board regulations, EK and R.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm coming before you today just with a regulation that we amended, just as a better practice for the way we employees check out vehicles from the bus garage. This applies to vehicles that are housed at the bus garage, that are part of our fleets. The first amendment is going to be that we're going to ask any employee requesting use of a vehicle to have a copy of their driver's license on file and a driving background check within the last 2 years. That's really for, we'll develop a form for that, but that's really for liability purposes for insurance. So, the other amendment is under number 6, where we specifically talk about the vehicles and how they should be used when they're checked out. The vehicle's intent were to facilitate trips where you leave the county or go on conference or something like that outside the county for school business, so that they can drive a school car. And we'll continue to do that, obviously, as long as they meet the provisions in number 2. But also for those who are using vehicles inside the county for inter-county business, we're going to ask that we go back to doing the per diem, that they get reimbursed on a per diem basis. Yeah, mileage. And that is based on the state per diem. So those are the only 2 amendments to that entire regulation. If you have any questions about that.
So that we have people now that are like going from school to school that have a vehicle that will go back to using their own vehicle?
Yeah, and the problem is we don't have the vehicles, nor do we have the ability to purchase. The vehicles are scarce right now, even to find vehicles. We were able to purchase some vans from a used dealer who actually has a state procurement contract. in Richmond, but he's got one van we think we can get, but it's just very difficult to find anything
Right.
these days.
And it was just becoming, it was becoming difficult trying to figure out like, well, which one uses the vehicle,
Yeah.
who doesn't use the vehicle. So they did a lot of research to figure out what's the best way forward.
Yeah.
I think they've got a good plan.
And I don't know, we give them a little leeway just so they'll know ahead of time maybe that this.
Certainly, yeah. No, I'm not going to call up everybody and tell them tomorrow, but we're certainly going to give people a time to adjust to this. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
And
Thanks.
this- do we
Oh,
need
I'm
to
sorry.
approve this?
No, this is a regulation. This is informational.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be aware of what they're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Homeschool religious exemption report.
Ms. Powell.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Each year we come to you with the number of homeschool students. This year we have 279, which includes 258 who have been approved. 11 still owe us either the notice of intent, the subjects that they're studying this year, or last year's test scores. So we're still working on 11. We included them then in the number of 279 because, we've been in touch with them. They do plan to homeschool. They just haven't got us all the information. We also have 10 who chose the certified tutor option. And then as far as religious exempt, there is a total of 70. And this is, not just this year, new this year, but that's the total of students that we have that chose religious exemption.
Is it 70 inclusive of the 279 or it's separate?
That's separate.
That's separate.
Yes, ma'am.
So are those, you said 11 not approved?
That's correct.
Are they out of compliance regarding practice?
So they should have had their information to us by August 1st if they were going to homeschool. We've been in touch with all of them and, they're going to get it to us. They just have not got it to us as of this moment in time.
So it's not considered truancy or anything?
No.
Any questions for Ms. Powell?
No.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
We've already done our English learner, have we done our English
Yeah, we
learners
changed
report?
the agenda.
Okay, so did that during the presentation. And the Rwanti update, Mrs. Haney will do that.
Okay. We did have a meeting on October 5th for the Rwanti Board. And a couple of student recognitions and program updates were presented. Nicholas Wolford from Sussex County won the Skills USA State Auto Service Award in the spring of 2023. And he went to national and he came in 11th place. And then Nicholas Wolford from Sussex and Chase Galden from Dinwiddie County, they both went to the state fair and they won first place in that for the Skills USA State Auto Service Award. So that was very good news. We had updates on the cosmetology program there, and they're doing very well. The nurse's aid update, the director told us that they were changing from going to Dinwiddie Rehab to go to Dunlop House instead. And last year, I think they had 89% passed the test for the nurse's aid program. So they're doing exceptionally well. Plumbing program, they do have, they're doing all right. They had 11 students in the morning program and then 12 in the afternoon. However, the money, they still need quite a bit more money than anticipated. So that's going to be a big issue for the equipment that they need. And that was about it. We had a lot of other things that we had to deal with. The preventative maintenance programs that they're working on, the safety upgrades, and but for the most part, that was about it.
That building is built in the 70s, like some of our schools, and is now entering a phase of needing a lot of work. And of course, safety has changed since that building was built. So we needed to do cameras and card swipes and so forth on doors that they were the old style doors with the push panels on them. So
Yeah, they want to remove
Right,
one of
so-
the panels, so they can't
Yeah.
lock them.
So that kind of stuff has to be updated. Thank you for that report. Is there a report from?
That's it.
All right, citizens' comments, Ms. Golson? No one signed up? Board members' comments. Let's start down here with you, Mr. Sneff.
Just want to thank you, Mr. Carnes, for the highlights at the high school. I know you'd be here all day if you told us about all of it. Just- I hear them constantly from my son as well, and I appreciate all the hard work your staff has done. It was nice seeing the kids, the Hispanic. I love the outfits. They're very colorful. And just want to thank everybody for everything they do, students and staff. Thanks for making our schools what they are.
Ms. Haney?
Same thing goes for me. Mr. Byrd, we are going to miss you. And we do, we welcome Tori Walker as the new principal. I know that Dinwiddie Middle is a difficult school to deal with, so, the kids are just trying to figure out who they are. And we all have to help them. But Mr. Garnes, you're doing a great job over there at the high school. It's always fun to listen to what's going on over there. And Mr. Schneff is right, the kids were just precious for the history, his Spanish Historic Month. Anyway, that's it. Thank you.
Ditto to what they said. I'm not going to repeat it, but I would like to share that I was in the high school maybe about a week or 2 weeks ago, and the students were so mannerable and adult, acting respectful. Mr. Garn, that says a lot for you and your team, that somebody, you may not think they're listening, but somebody hears what you all are doing over there at the high school. So I was very proud to have spent the time there. And it was during lunchtime, and they said that's the worst time, but that was the best time. And I thank you for what you do. I know it's not easy, but I really, really appreciate what you and your team are doing. And that's it for me. Mr. Byrd, good luck.
Ms. Barrett?
Okay, everything that they said. But I do want to point out that Dr. Weston and I had an interesting conversation this week. And we were talking about how people watch us and we're being interviewed and not even know that people are watching. So when positions or opportunities become available, then that helps us or anyone decide, well, oh, that person is all right. With that being said, I wanted to tell you all that we pay attention to what you all are doing. And I'm happy that I'm part of you all. I'm part of Dinwiddie. And I have to point out two people, not to minimize anyone else, but Mr. Garnes, I'm always hearing something good about you, your school, and the work that you're doing. I'm just saying that's good. But Mr. Walters, I was very impressed with your presentation at our advance, and that tells me that you all are paying attention to even the smallest things, especially our safety. And I appreciate that, and I didn't have the opportunity to tell you that, but I wanted everyone to know that I appreciate you all. And I'm glad I'm with Dinwiddie County. Mr. Byrd, what can I say except see you later?
See you later. That's right. I would also like to say that one of the things I'm most proud of at Dinwiddie High School is that a Dinwiddie graduate is more than a GPA, and it's more than the credits that you earned, and it's more than the type of diploma that you earned. It's all those experiences, all those intrinsic things that we cannot really put a finger on sometimes, that kids get exposed to and have a chance to have experiences with. So I'm appreciative of that. And Mr. Byrd, we thank you and wish you Godspeed and good luck in what you're getting ready to do. This week, we will be also working with the county in a tomorrow afternoon, and it is a plan to look at the future for the schools and the county, and it's very important that, you know, the county is inclusive of us, and it's also inclusive of Parks and Rec and Water Authority and this and that. So, I mean, it's, we appreciate the chance to
First
get in
time,
there
yeah.
and listen to what they have to say, and also for us to have input, to look at a 20-year down the road plan.
Comprehensive plan.
Yeah. So we thank you. Superintendent,
I
no,
think it's
students. Student comments. We'll start with Jonathan.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us again for another school board meeting. I just want to say a big thank you to Dinwiddie County for allowing the young students of Hispanic heritage to show their origins and everything. Coming from Hispanic heritage myself, you know, it was nice to see how the community's changing, how it's, you know, being more open to show off where each individual student comes from. And it's just fun to see how we're starting to change and how these young children are going to grow into greater things, and that their community is always going to be behind them to support them as well.
Thank you. Amani.
I also wanted to say how, you know, I personally enjoyed, of course, the high school's highlights. Right now we have our homecoming week and spirit week, and a lot of the teachers are participating as well, and the students, and we have Pink Out, which our hallways are getting decorated for breast cancer awareness, so that's really nice to see. And I also love seeing the students as well for just seeing how we are becoming more inclusive and we are bringing in that representation so that way all students and faculty feel represented in where they're working and where they're going every day. And I also loved hearing about the plan for our student success and, you know, the school accreditation, because it's really nice to see how, you know, how we are progressing and also how I can show up to be a better student as well. So that way I know that I can leave out being successful. So it was just really nice just to see everything and hear everything, and I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. I'd like to point out before we go to Dr. Weston that Jonathan participated in some VSBA training last month, and they chose his interview to highlight on their website. And so you're famous, Jonathan.
Yes, we loved it. Yeah. You did a great job.
You did a great job. Thank you. Dr. Weston?
I'll check that one off because I had that written down for mine too, because you did a great job representing us. So thank you so much for that. So I'm going to start by, you know, what's interesting. So today I was at the high school, and I think sometimes we forget that high schooler kids are still kids, right? And so what I loved today was we're still kids and we're still having fun. And that you have administrators that are dressed up and people are all dressed up. And yesterday, who were you yesterday, Mr. Garnes? Gru from the Minions. And so the administrative team, they were the Minions and he was Gru. Adorable. Like, how great is that, right? It was the best. So, you know, I just think that it just really does a lot for the school, for kids to see you like that. And you looked exactly like him, too. It was a great picture. I want to say to Penny, you've done a lot of work with that EL program. I want to tell you, when that was amazing. You know, we used to previously have it like as an add-on, but Penny, and she's done a lot of work in her team, and I just want to thank you so much for that. And I think Jonathan's testimony there, saying that, you know, he sees a big difference in what we're doing in our community, and thank you so much for your leadership in that. It was wonderful. So thank you so much, Penny. You already talked about. Let me see. Tomorrow we have our advance. Yesterday afternoon, I had the chance to travel to 2 schools with Chaplain Holloway. He wanted to start visiting our schools instead of just hearing in the community about what's happening in our schools. So we visited Midway Elementary School and we visited Dinwiddie Middle School, and he was very impressed with both. You know, and he said, I don't know what I expected going in, but I was pleasantly surprised at both. He's like, it is so amazing in both of these schools. And our next stop is going to be Sunnyside Elementary School. He said that's the next stop he wants to make. He is the chaplain for our sheriff's department. And so he's going to be eventually visiting all of our schools. So just wanted to let you know that the word's getting out, and I think we're going to see more and more people in our schools. did have some opportunities these past couple of weeks. I had the opportunity to go and meet with Dominion Power, with their innovation person at Dominion Power, about how can we partner. And basically, and I shared this information with Burke already, they said if we could give them electricians and electrical engineers, they'd hire them tomorrow. So very excited about the opportunities that are over there. They're going to expand, and so I'm excited for Dinwiddie County about what's possible there. Had the opportunity to be at National Night Out with Ms. Merritt. She was there at National Night Out, so that was great. I think there were 4 in one night, so but it was a great event and great, well attended, and that was a lot of fun too. Was invited to First Baptist Church. I got to go to Friends and Family Day, so that was a great. Ms. Benjamin, you were there at that. Ms. Merritt was there at that one as well. So that was a wonderful event, very well attended. And I think some of our officers were there, and so that was a wonderful event. We are trying to change the community conversations this year. We will still come to the churches if people want us to come to churches, but what we're trying to do this year is to go where people are. So if that way people don't have to come out somewhere. So we're trying to identify what are some of those events. There's going to be 2 churches are coming together to celebrate their anniversary coming up. So we're going to be going to that event. Went to the county fair, saw Mr. Sneff, and I got to see a lot of our kids working there. And I got to talk to a lot of parents. Either the grocery store, the county fair, you can talk to a lot of parents in those places. You have to plan lots of time. And just wanted to say to you that the student advisory group on excellence is going to be starting up at the high school. So you will have an opportunity. The 2 of you will be leading that for us. And we're working with through Mr. Garnes, and that's coming up very soon. You'll be identifying what your project's going to be or projects that you'd like to work on. So I know you have a lot of things on your mind there. And then finally, the Lead Well Summit is going to be October 21st. And I hope that you all will sign up to attend the Lead Well Summit. Dr. Kenny will be joining us again, but he's going to talk to us about using our influence basically for good. We're leaders, and how are we using our influence? So that's it. Lots of good stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else have any input or comments to make?
Well, Mrs. Dr. Weston, I attended McKinney's night out.
Oh, did you get
Yes.
okay. I knew there was 4 one night. Yes, it was really wonderful.
All of them.
I liked them in the fall better
A
too
lot
than in
of
the summer.
children came
They
out
were,
to
yeah.
McKinney, and they had lots of fun.
That is great.
Any other input? If not, we will entertain a motion for adjournment.
Madam Chair, I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.